Okay, let's call the meeting to order at 4:31. Any considerations of changes, additions to removal to the agenda?
I just would like to add the two items that were in the minutes from the last meeting that I asked to be either on the agenda or in a report, the Stonehouse project and an update on the battery project.
Yes, I'm sorry about that.
Do we want to do that under other business?
I don't care how you put it in there.
I may be able to handle that during the department manager's report.
Or you can, sure, sure.
That would be fine.
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Yep, no, that's good. Good looking at. Although we do need to put approval of minutes on here as well.
Oh, yeah.
Add that to number 3. Right, so let's move on to approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry to ask to clarify, but which, we had
Oh,
2 minutes, right?
from,
Oh,
We had last month's meeting and then
Yeah.
the special meeting,
I have the ones in front of me for June 18th.
for the special meeting. Well, do you want to make a separate motion for the other ones?
5:22 and 6:18.
I made the motion for 6:18 to approve those minutes.
Alright. Since we're on that.
All in favor to approve the minutes for 6:18?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes approved. And
I will make a motion to approve the minutes for 5:22.
all in favor?
I'll second, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. It's signed.
Excellent, thank you guys. I don't know if you guys have come to see this amazing book.
Oh, yeah.
They brought it
It
in
is.
the first couple meetings.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay. They usually bring it?
Yeah, they brought the whole book, public, kind of neat.
It is.
It was my first time. I've been on a lot of boards, but it was my first time.
Yeah. And we are putting the agenda in.
Yes, we
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, yeah, thank you for coming. Please
Right, we
follow
can move
us
on to department manager's report.
I think we've been working very hard to fill the position of the supervising lineman safety officer. I think we've got something to report to you on that in executive session. So, but we've done interviews, and I think we're done with this. We continue to work on. I continue to work too slowly on the personnel manual for everybody. I will say the consolidation of this, it is important to have it be accurate and full and complete. And it is an integration of our last report plus the union one plus something else. But I'm not going to use any adjective. It's 51 pages long, and I've never seen a personnel manual that long. And I can't figure out how to shorten it without getting rid of stuff that probably legally needs to be in there. So I think I'm on page 32 of the 51 pages in terms of editing, and there are, changes and things that I'm suggesting. So I would say that you probably, in the next week, you're going to get a second draft of that marked up, redlined, so you can see the changes from the last version I gave you. But I think that's going to be a next month thing. So my apologies, but that's where we are. Stonehouse Solar. So we have completed the contract with that, June,
Okay.
between us and VEPSA. It was like the 4th time that Shannon and I signed the thing, but I think it's done. And they are now applying for the certificate of public good through PUC. So they needed the contracts all in place in order to do that. They've got, and a contractor, MHG, is going to be, MHG is the owner. They will be submitting that. So I think we're still, I don't know if we were talking about 2026 before, but we're talking 2026 now. So we're probably going there. The battery project, I think, is going fine. I think that is proceeding. Okemo, I think, is still very supportive of it. I think as long as we're on that subject of Okemo, I'll mention that they have reached out to me a couple of times to say, how committed are we to providing power for if they switch from the diesel to the electric things? I have emailed and said we're extremely committed, we're ready to go, we did 1 megawatt already. Evidently they'll want something more in terms of security. I'm not sure what that is, but I just want to let you know that I'm following up with them to see what do you guys need? Because we will provide the power. We'll figure out how to do that, and we do want them to do this. And part of it might be the how we share or contract for the tier 3 credits that they'll be getting. Tier 3 credits are when you displace fossil fuel and you earn some of those, and in Vermont we've got to increasingly do that over time. This would create a lot of tier 3 credits, and those would normally naturally come to the utility. However, they may be interested in some sort of agreement on that since they're doing work. And so we'll figure that out. But I just wanted to give you a heads up that evidently Vail, as the primary owner, is nervous about our ability to provide power to them if they make this change. And I'm not sure what else we can do, but I'll figure it out.
Actually, I should have copied you that. I will copy you on that. I was back and forth with them today.
Okay.
And Alan, our engineer.
Okay.
So I've submitted all that stuff back to them. So we're in this midst now of pricing transformers and switches and that stuff. So because their plan is to go ahead with that next year.
Okay, good. Was that designed to address Vail's concerns? Like, did you
Yeah,
you had comments on that? Okay, good. Yeah,
Yeah.
you should have done this.
Well, it was at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I know.
We're just waiting to hear back
It's
from
okay.
Alan.
It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would just say that I think that I from what I know about that project, I also am very supportive of it. I think it's really important for us. I think it helps stabilize some things on our
Yes. Yeah.
end. And just knowing that we have creating that demand for us has its own value for the department, which I think, as a board member, I would support. And if there's any room for us to, as a board, to express a commitment to continue that, and
Oh, that's an interesting idea.
if that's, if they just need the engineering side, that's fine. But if
What do you think?
there would be a
No.
need for us
So
to express it,
I think the whole obstacle of this, if you guys aren't familiar with, is originally when they wanted to go electrification, you know where the compressors are now?
Yeah.
They were gonna need to build a substation because they didn't have adequate power for them at that location.
yeah, where it was.
So we went back to them and said, are you guys up for splitting it up so we could split it between substations? Because they had put a compressor in at their maintenance garage, which actually comes off a different sub. So between the two subs, we've agreed that we're going to do 2 compressors, which we can take the load better at their maintenance garage, come off the 1 Howard Martin Jr. sub, and then they're going to do 1 unit at the parking lot where that is.
Yeah.
So
And that
50
parking lot runs off of
Commonwealth.
Commonwealth side? Yeah, I mean, if it's more an engineering thing than anything else, I guess, that's fine. I think there is, if they're looking for some sort of commitment from leadership.
It did sound that way to me, from my discussions with them. It sounded like the owners, Bill, were nervous about like this investment based on the commitment that we might have. So I don't know if you guys think
I
about.
think it's more or less about purchasing the power and getting to that threshold if they need to.
Okay.
So it's going in place.
Okay. Do you feel like any type of resolution from these guys, like supporting
I
it?
think it really
Okay.
just needs to come from us, and we need to, we need to increase. I think we need to increase.
Another 3 megawatts,
Well,
I believe.
Yeah, it's another 3, and I think we need to do it. Another 1.5 this year and another 1.5 next year.
Okay.
And we budgeted for that,
Well, it's just a.
or it's just a matter of.
It's a
Just a
matter
matter
of
of
applying to the CEC. We
As
did
they-
one.
They pay for that.
Okay,
We did do 1.5. Or did we do 1.5 or 1? We did
okay.
one something last
That's
year.
So,
So it's we're on top of that. It's just I don't want the corporation to be nervous about our commitment, right? So
Yeah, totally appreciate that.
maybe I can
so,
always show them this video and say,
Well, yeah, or we could even sign something,
Yeah.
if it makes that.
so just so it doesn't get lost and we don't forget, those two subjects should be either in
Regularly.
your report or on the agenda, I think, every
A standing item.
regular meeting,
Okay.
so that we
Um,
don't
for
lose
discussion.
track of it.
Fair enough. I'll do that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I
Yeah,
support
that's
that too.
fine. And sometimes it'll be no change, and
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
it'll be
That's fine.
update.
As
Yeah,
long
that's
as we
fine.
don't lose it.
Yeah.
Probably gonna have to have all 3 of them on there, solar, battery, and
Yeah, I think so.
snow.
I think that's a
Oh,
good
and
idea.
the snow. Yes, I agree. Yeah.
And you
Why
can
can't we
again
put
just
them
put
under
that
the
into your
superintendent's
manager's
report?
report.
We don't have one.
Oh, right, the operation manager.
He's quick.
Jesus, he
Quick.
is quick.
He's on the ball.
He is quick.
Yeah, there you go.
Jesus, he is quick. All right, thank you. I don't have anything else. If anybody has any questions about the rest of the report, that's what I got.
All right, we can move on. Outside operations managers report, please.
So we had one streetlight maintenance. We're in the progress, actually finished meter reading since I've done the report. If you haven't downloaded it, we will in the morning. Substation maintenance, monthly checks, weed control. We're still in the process of getting the Howard Barton Junior sub permitted to change the reclosures. Smithville, we still need to schedule the reclosure for there. Actually, the regs for Howard Barton Jr. 22 dig safe locates. Only outage for the month was Fox Run's condo fire. 3 service upgrades. Line trimming, we had Okemo Access Road, we had a tree removal on Johnson Road that was on our primary. Vehicle maintenance, we had 1 truck left to inspect, which was a 2009. It failed inspection. It's going to consist of some work. The recommendation is to replace it.
Item A, 5A. Yep.
So we can discuss that in executive session. And then the safety topic for last month was meter safety. And that wraps up on
Shannon,
Yes.
can just go back, Chris, to your report, the last paragraph. Is there something we should talk about in regards to the fiscal systems audit?
Yeah, it keeps on getting delayed. I mean, you know that from the beginning I wanted this somebody to do this, and the comptroller from Swanton was recommended to me, and she's been amenable to doing it. She's gotten approval from her boss to do it, and things keep on getting delayed. The first thing was they had a vote that the bond vote that didn't go through, and she needed to spend time on that, and then yeah, I don't remember what the second one was. The third one was, not being able to review and being ready to
So-
do other stuff. So anyway, we're scheduled for, I think, July 1st or first week of July. I'll say
which
that
is next week.
one more time. But
Yeah, because I was thinking, should we look someplace else?
maybe, yeah, we
Do
should.
we,
I mean,
Is this something we need to do right now? Can it
it's
wait for
something I
the?
want to do. I think it's responsible to do it. Yeah, I'm a little disappointed that it's been postponed multiple times. On the other hand, the price was right. They're doing it for free. They're willing to do
Well,
it.
It's what you get when it's
Fair
free.
enough.
Right, exactly. So you got to be a little
Yeah,
accommodating.
well, yeah.
But I do think it's an important thing to do, right?
Okay.
And we do need to get it done. And Gene, you're right.
Okay.
I mean, if something happens and this next time, like the fifth time is not the charm, I'll figure out how
Okay.
to contract it out.
I would agree with that. I would support looking somewhere else if it doesn't go. I really was curious about this and just the processes that we have in place.
Yeah, and it's a due diligence thing to do,
Yeah.
and I want to do it. So
And I think with the new department manager coming, it'll be helpful to that person to have
yes,
it.
to know what's going on. Unless it's really bad, in which case it won't be good. We shouldn't tell them. We shouldn't tell them until after they're hired.
After they sign a 5-year contract.
Right.
No, I think it's fine.
That's all.
Truthfully, my experience is that, based on what I've seen, I don't think there are many gaps, if any. But I'm not a CPA, so I think getting somebody who's familiar with that to look at it would be great.
Okay. I had just one more question. We haven't talked about the AMI meter systems in a while.
Actually, I should include, well, actually, I couldn't include that because till today, I just got an email this afternoon when I was leaving that the last 4 antenna setups, DCUs, are scheduled to ship on Monday. So those will be complete and we should have all of our meters by the middle of August. So
Great.
then we've got to warn everything.
Right.
Yeah, then we can start putting them in. But
The plan is
it's probably going to be a 6-month process.
the plan is, since they're all coming kind of at once, we got the plan for a storage unit in the yard. We can put these in safely in there, but and then how it's getting paid for, we're still working on.
But we don't care, we haven't had to make any payments. So.
Well, I know, but you know as well as I do.
And it doesn't sound like we're gonna make any payments until after the first of the year.
It might not. Okay, so we're good. Don't worry about paying. No, because the reality is,
Maybe that's something to
for it.
keep on
That's
our
just
radar.
paying
Yes,
for
it
it.
is. Yes, it is.
Debs is paying for it. They're looking for a reimbursement or approval from the grant that they've got, and then they will call us. So Brett's probably right. It's going to be 2028 before we get a bill, which is great. No, I'm teasing. It should be sooner than that. But the reality is, the DCUs that have come, the 4 that have come, and the 4 that are coming, we have no bill for, and we don't expect one in the near future. And then when the meters themselves come, we don't know when we get a bill for that. But there's a financing program associated with that, so we're not.
That's
Yeah.
helpful for us to have more financing.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be out, $800,000 for 4,000 meters, or $200 each, whatever. So, okay.
Consideration of department manager position.
Ooh, can we go back to 5A for a minute?
Sure.
So, because that truck did not pass inspection, we feel the need to replace it and to, write it off or sell it. Brett checked in with the same people we got the other truck from. I think we got a really good deal of a 2.5% financing for $45,000 roughly,
Just over 46.
46,000 for a truck. And I think we should do that. The fact that we were relying on the vehicles we have, and then, the fact that one was 15 years old and didn't pass inspection indicates to us that we should have probably upgraded sooner. But I think we would look for the ability to do that if you guys are amenable to that. And the fact is that we're borrowing the money because that's what DPS wants us to do. So this is a good opportunity, and the interest rate's low, and we're getting the price at the employee discount price, which is better than the municipal rate, right?
Yeah.
But it's only good to the end of the month, so that's why
It's
we're
good
doing this.
till next week.
Do we need
Okay.
do you need a motion from us?
I would prefer one, yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
to make an amendment to the budget to include, to purchase the new truck.
You want the
We'll
amount?
move that.
You need the amount?
No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
I'll
As long
second.
as you understand it's in that range.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
over 40, 45.
Mid 40s, yeah.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
I assume probably very little value on trade.
Yeah,
Yeah, 5,000-6,000 probably. Well, they won't even take it in trade. We're gonna have to sell it outright.
yes, the Ford dealership did not want it.
Yeah, we let's not hang on to vehicles until they aren't tradable anymore.
Yes,
Let's not do that again.
Yeah. All right,
Thank
we're good, sure, all right, moving on. Consideration of department manager position. And how do you say your last name?
General.
General.
Rhymes with general.
There we go. So we have Tom General here, contractor introduction.
Well, thank you for asking me to work with you guys. Chris and I and the staff met yesterday. Chris and I started talking about this, I don't know, just a few days ago. it
Yeah, not too
seems.
long ago.
Yeah.
And we have before you a contract and a draft advertisement. And I know that typically the commission gets things well in advance of the meeting, so you have time to digest it. But we thought we would shoot for today's meeting, and so that's what we did. And you can work however you want with those documents. We can go back and forth if you want changes. And with that, I'll leave it with Chris and the commission.
Well, I think typically, in my experience, which is a whole 9 months, 10 months, Shannon and I can sign those contracts. I reviewed it. I'm okay, but I want to give Shannon a chance to do that and get it to you. So
Okay.
we can do that on the contract. And then I think the main thing is for, if you're willing to talk about how you visualize this job being advertised and filled and reviewed and filled. And I think that's probably what they would like to know mostly. And I appreciate getting kind of this first draft of the advertisement out, but gotta review that too. So
Okay. And just to mention the advertisement, this is something that I did totally myself. If you want to spend an additional $500 to $700, we can get a graphic designer to work on it and make it a little more spiffier. I don't know if it's worth the money and the time. I know everyone's eager to get the process started, which really begins when you get the ad out there. So let's go to the process. There's a couple things in the ad that I took some liberties with. One was with resumes being due on August 1. Figuring that we would get ads out, published. Well, we can get them out next week. When they get published, it varies a little bit. And it's usually good to give potential candidates a month to get to make some decisions whether they want to apply for this job and get their resumes and so forth together. And in the interview process, yesterday in the meeting with Chris and Brett and Lisa, we talked about the first interviews being with the three of them and one commissioner. And I don't know whether you guys have talked about this before, the commission or all of you together. But that was an idea just to screen people out, which I would think would be, I don't know, up to 5 to 7 people. It depends how good the resumes are. There might be so many that, gee, we can't not interview this person. So it's a bit of a process, that first step. And then when you look at the ad, you'll see that I'm suggesting that the whole commission be involved in the second interviews, which would be, it's hard to say, 2 to 3 people maybe. Depends, again, on what we receive, so that you really are comfortable with that. And of course, those are done in executive session. It's usually a matter of getting everybody together is a little bit of a problem. But we can work on that going forward.
I think that's a great idea in the sense that we could do a first interview to make sure people are qualified, capable, get along with staff, whatever, and then you guys, this is the position, right, that you all need to manage and be comfortable with. So I think that's really important.
And maybe you said this and I just didn't hear it correctly. So when the ad goes out and the applicants submit their information, you would screen out the ones that just really wouldn't be appropriate. Is that correct or not?
That's correct. Typically what I would do is make recommendations to all of you as to what I see as potential top candidates.
Okay. All right.
But I don't preclude you from seeing all the resumes. You get them all.
Okay.
Because there might be somebody in there that you don't agree with my assessment, and I'm fine with that.
Okay.
And you know, then we'll decide who we really want to interview. And that could be a meeting in itself.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate you getting this all together so last minute and being able to make it here for this presentation.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah, you got
Well, it
me at a
was
good
last-
time, and I'm just down the road 25 minutes.
Perfect.
So that helps too.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. So I don't know if you want, I can give you a little more detail on the step-by-step process.
Sure.
So once we get the ad approved, we'll get it published. Where we're going to publish it, Chris has a tremendous LinkedIn network that he's offered to use, for us to use. And that would cover, I think, all the social media that we have to do. And then I think the rest of this we would handle like a town manager advertisement, through the state organizations that support municipalities, like the Vermont League of Cities and Towns, which you are a member of, and do that. And they're very reasonable, do that throughout New England and maybe some other states as well. We could put it in the International City Managers Association, which is a national organization. That's probably the most expensive. If we cut it back, some of the language, we might get it down to like $400 for a one-time ad. It's probably worth doing. I don't think a lot of, it's more directed, that organization is more directed for municipal managers, city, town managers. But I see a lot of other types of ads in there. And it gives you just tremendous exposure. And it gets people talking. And so I would suggest doing that as well. There might be some publications, utility publications. There's only a couple of them. And staff tells me they're not that great. And I will look into if the timing works and the cost before we get done. And Lisa mentioned some organization yesterday, and I can't remember what that was, that you've used in the past, but it wasn't very productive.
Indeed.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we wouldn't want to do Indeed.
Yeah, no, it was not a good,
I thought it was some kind of utility association or something like that.
oh, EPA or NEPA
Yeah,
or,
NEPA, yeah, and they are willing, I did send the job that we're currently filling to them, and they were
Yeah.
willing to post it, so there is a posting thing that.
and then there's APPA that's national, but I don't know if we would wanna do that.
Yeah, I'd seen job ads, I think, on NEPA's website before too, but I looked at them and was like, oh, maybe we should borrow that
Exactly.
Yeah.
language for this other job ad and things. So I think that would be a good one, but other than that, I didn't see much in the utility
And, you know,
specific space.
I can we'll send it to VEPSA too, but they are willing to just post it generally, but I think, sending it directly to utilities is a little bit like, if you leave your keys in the car, I would gladly borrow it.
Well, that's kind of my job too.
That's also true.
So we'll see what I haven't delved into that yet.
Very good.
Fair enough.
So that would be places to advertise and to network, to find candidates. My assessment, if you want to hear it, is that I think it's a great job. I think you folks are offering a really respectable salary, and your benefits package is fantastic. So I think we're going to get some great interest and good candidates. So you see.
I think I'd like to say there's a reason for that, because I think the board, or me personally, we have some great expectations of this person in this position. It might be a challenge. It will be a challenge for somebody who's looking for one.
Yeah, but I think you also have all done a great job at setting us up, right? You've been
So,
doing this since you all started, and
which is not very long, by the way.
Right.
We're a brand new board.
Oh, are you?
We're some of us not even a year old yet.
Oh,
Oh, Shannon's been the longest, even here.
2 years.
Yeah, is it 2 years?
Not quite, I don't think, 2.5.
No.
Brett has been here and has been a huge,
Yeah.
Right?
Huge.
So just over a year.
Yeah.
Just over a
But
year.
anyway, yeah.
anyway, a lot of stuff has
A
happened.
lot of transition.
There's a lot of transition. They've been
I
really.
think we've righted the ship from where
absolutely.
it felt like we were when I started.
Oh, yeah.
Even when I started. But yeah, I think there's still more work to do, and it's still, still challenges ahead for sure.
Absolutely, but I do feel as though, with Chris and Brett, all the help you guys have, or all the work you've put in,
Yeah.
it's really, we started pulling things together.
So once we agree upon candidates, the interview, we'll just schedule interviews, and I'll work that out with whomever is going to be involved with the interview team or committee to begin with in the second one. And I can put together questions and share that beforehand with the committee members. Because this is there's more technicalities than I'm familiar with, with dealing with the regulators and codes and things of that nature. I have no knowledge of that stuff.
Mhm.
So I'll rely on staff to ask the pertinent questions. And, usually in a 1 hour interview, you get 13 13 to 15 questions. And you want to have some time for the candidate to ask questions. It's nice to get to a point where you're just having more of a free-flowing conversation. That doesn't always happen, though. And when it does, you usually find a really good candidate that's capable of doing that. And then, we can make an offer, work on a contract, and get somebody here. A couple other things that I didn't put in the ad and you may want to consider is monies for relocation if we get a candidate that has to move here.
And actually, I was going to ask a similar question. If we bring somebody in for an interview from far away, is it now typical to pay for their expenses thing? Because it used to be, but I think I didn't know if it had changed. Okay.
Yeah, it still is.
Okay.
Makes sense. I like the idea of having a board member on the interviewing process.
Yeah, I do too.
I think that since we're only 3, I feel strongly that we should all be involved because I sense that more than just one of us want to be part of that process.
Well, what he was trying to get at though is we're just gonna one initial to do the initial and then narrow it down and then then have the whole board decide on the final candidates once you pick 10 or 12, depending on how many you get. Unless you feel that you want to have included everyone.
Well, it would
Because
be a
then
lot
we
of
would
board
have to
meetings.
do a lot of
Yeah,
work.
That would be a lot of board
That
meetings.
is the
Sam,
problem.
yeah.
I
I'd
think,
like to see them.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think
well-
that we can certainly send all the resumes to you guys. We can send a recommendation as to whether we should or shouldn't interview
Yeah.
these people, whether we think they are or not qualified. And then I do like the 2 interview process, even if it's back to back, the same day, next day, I don't know. But I really feel like this person needs to be interviewed and get to know the staff, even if there's 15 minutes of a round robin of visiting with staff, both in the shop and in the office. I think that's important. And then if they kind of, if you will, pass that, bring them to you guys with a recommendation, and you can do a full interview with them too.
And I like the idea of them sending us the resumes so we all have a chance to look over it. We can, reach out to Chris.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
If there's
communicate
something,
through Chris.
if you feel,
But I would be happy, I don't know your thoughts, if you'd want to be involved, but I know Jean, that's something you'd strongly like to be involved in.
Yeah.
And I'd be happy to nominate you to be that board member, to be a part of those interviews.
in which case, for the first round, as Brett was saying, if you wanted to be at the first round,
Yeah.
right, you get a little further ahead right away.
I think at least one of us should be at the first round. I might almost want to be at the first round too. I feel like, if we're talking about, like 5 to 10 in that first round, I think that's what Gene's getting at. I think maybe it makes sense to have 2 of us there, even though we
Yeah,
have to
but then it's a
It's a
meeting.
quorum.
we have to warn it as a meeting.
Which is all right,
But we still
so
can.
okay.
I think we can work that out.
Yes,
I think we
absolutely. We could do, it's a hiring process. You can do it all in executive session, but
Yeah,
advertise the fact that you're doing this. Yeah. And
I think the difference is just we have to warn it, but it's not.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I've done, done this as a select board, and we definitely interviewed. We interviewed the first, 7 names or whatever.
yeah, okay.
And it wasn't. It's not. I don't know. Setting up a meeting. I feel like I want to
We'll have further discussions, but I get your sense.
play it by
that
ear.
If
you can be
20
involved
applicants,
earlier
so-
and more.
Well, if you want to do 20,
If you have
if you want to interview 20 people.
No, I don't want to interview 20.
Yeah.
I think you're talking about interviewing 5 to 10.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm not sure.
Exactly.
that
If
we
we're
get
lucky.
20. I mean,
yes.
if we did, that might be great. But
I'm sorry,
I think-
did I say if we're lucky? Yeah, no.
To some extent, play it by ear, but I'm thinking, if we're talking about interviewing 5 to 10 people, it seems like Gene really wants to be involved. I feel like I would want to be involved too with that level.
Yeah.
And if we have to warn that as a meeting, let's go forward with that. Definitely, I think the whole board should be, when we get it down to the last 2 or 3 or 5.
Yeah. Well, in reality, in terms of organizational structure, this, besides you guys as a board, this is the most important position for you to
Yeah.
be comfortable with.
It-
As, you know, in terms of managing the staff, in terms of, trust that they're gonna focus on what you want them to focus on, so.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, that's where I think it's,
where it's
maybe even having two of us, at least two of us, maybe.
Yep.
Getting from 10 to 2 makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I've read through the contract. It seems to me relatively boilerplate. I've written a lot of these myself.
And Logan did see this before, not
This is
this, but
slightly
this.
different than the one that I saw, but
Mhm.
more or less very
Well,
similar.
I did get it today too, and I reviewed it, and I think it's okay, but Shannon and I think Shannon needs some time to look at it more, and then we can sign it. You're not, like, gonna refuse to start unless we sign it
I've
tonight.
already started.
I know. Good. So I think,
Clock's ticking.
so I think we can get you a signed contract in 3 or 4 months. I think.
Oh,
So,
Should we,
No, I'll read over
Like,
it tonight and
I
I
I
will
didn't
sign
think you wanted to
tomorrow.
stay that long.
yeah, I mean, can we make a motion can I move to allow Shannon to sign when she's comfortable, after she's reviewed it?
yes.
We'll
And
say that.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright, motion passed. Yeah, I'll have that to you by tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have any questions,
I just,
my email is on the
Yeah, I saw
ad,
that right up the bottom.
and I can give you my phone number too if you want to call.
Perfect.
I just have, I was just looking just quickly at this. I noticed that I think even our letterhead, should it be Ludlow Electric Light Department, or is that not important?
It's up to you guys.
I think it's-
we've been going from Village of Ludlow Electric Light Department.
What's our website?
Ludlow Electric.
It's
thing.
Ludlow
Yeah, it's
Electric.
Ludlow Electric.
And I think that
Yeah,
this
we
is
changed
kind of in
That's fine then.
anticipation. It's kind of in
That's fine.
anticipation of transferring to
That's
the
fine.
town. And so we're trying just to.
I don't want it, if somebody's trying to look us up someplace,
Right.
I want them to be
To
able
be able to
to,
find it.
and not sign 4 or 5 different names, think, what kind of outfit is this, you know?
I mean, you can
Well, we
say.
do have 4 or 5 different
Yes,
names.
right. So,
Because technically, until the charter for
exactly,
the merger passes,
That's my point.
assuming it passes,
yes,
Right,
yeah,
Light Department.
when it passes, until it passes, we are the Village of Ludlow Electric Light Department.
that's our name.
And then after it passes, we would become the Ludlow Electric Department.
Correct.
And you can add light, microwave, plug, whatever else you want to that.
Yeah.
You know.
I just wanted to ask that
Yeah,
question
fair
before it goes out there. And one other comment, I've only had a minute, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, but where it says the community, I don't know, I'm not sure we need Okemos sign there.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I think that you
A
don't
little
need
too-
that,
A little too.
the, because we're Ludlow, we're not Okemo town.
Maybe take a picture of the Okemo, the Ludlow sign instead.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, the welcome to Ludlow.
Where is the Ludlow sign?
There's one right
Probably
by,
seen it a million
just,
times.
just
By
before
Fletcher
Fletcher
Fields.
Farm, there's one.
Okay.
And then there's one
Another
on
one
the
by the
side.
Yeah.
golf course.
Yeah,
Uh,
just,
And then there's one
You know,
up on-
I took those photographs
I
yesterday.
know, and
And,
it's a
I
great
did.
photograph, but and I just think
Yeah, no, I
it's,
think that's a
this may
good-
not be a big deal, but if you take a minute to read where it says community, I mean, we want to be, if nobody sees a problem with that, that's fine.
I think you're right. And
Okay.
I'm-
I would
I
say-
agree.
This is the first time we're all seeing this, so
Yeah.
we'll work with Tom and
Yeah.
try and.
Expanding population might be a reach.
It's a bit of a stretch. We are
Sounds good, though.
Also, I
an
mean,
aging population. as
correct
well.
me if I'm wrong, but we're gonna need multiple different advertisements for different places, right? So we're gonna have to pick and choose.
Okay,
Some
that's
are gonna
fine.
be short, some are gonna
That's
be
fine.
longer.
Right.
Yeah, and Chris brings up a really good point, and I forgot to mention this. I think it's a good idea to put complete the large comprehensive ad similar to what you have on your website.
Mhm.
And then we can put that link in all ads.
Correct.
So that they can see the
Nice.
whole
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Right,
That's
so
what
say
short
they,
about
they'll only
3
accept
hours.
200 words and then you have the link,
Right.
or what have you, whatever the number
Yeah, the
is.
short
I think we're on the right path here.
Yeah, I
Happy
agree.
about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks again for coming. I
My
appreciate
pleasure.
that. I mean, do we have any other questions here? Or?
No, I think that's, yeah. Yeah,
No,
appreciate you
looks
hanging in
good.
there.
So,
Sure.
yeah,
Thank you for talking to me early in the meeting. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
And,
It's actually not early in the meeting, but that's okay. I appreciate that you appreciate it.
You can
It
think
could
so.
be, exactly.
so
You're kind
what's,
of midway.
when do you see the first ad going now? A week, 2 weeks?
The first, so these.
oh,
Next week sometime.
yeah. I mean,
Next
as soon
week,
as we finish this ad, get it on the website. Chris can put it in his
Perfect.
LinkedIn one.
Great.
VLCT, that's usually almost instantaneous.
Yeah.
So, what is today? Thursday. Yeah, definitely next week.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, that's great.
And I love you all, but I'm going to do door-to-door delivery too.
That's good.
Oh,
In California,
yeah,
looking
never
for
mind.
one.
Right, I'm heading out.
Chris did mention, and you're right, and I thought it was a nice idea too, to advertise it locally in the
Yes.
journal.
Yeah, the journal.
Put it in the journal.
Yeah.
We can do that. But that's what I meant about multiple different ads, because that might be, the one in the Herald might be, great job, look at this link.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
It's the same,
the Herald
you know,
is a
because
lot
it's
more
expensive.
expensive
Yeah.
than the Journal is, and I think the Journal will give you
4 lines for $20, and then
That's
it's
pretty good.
50 cents for each additional word, I
Yeah.
believe.
That's fine.
and just
that's
having
all
that
you
link
need.
right there. Is,
Yeah, and I think that's important, just because you never know.
Yeah, and
That's
it
how we
covers
did
that
the city
base too,
officer.
that you advertise locally.
Yeah.
Nobody can
It's the
say
right thing.
you didn't do
And
it.
we have a tremendous amount of visitors and second homeowners that might pick up the journal. Who knows?
Yep.
Who knows?
That's true.
We'll find out.
Yeah, this is that stay to stay.
Hey, there may be a
Okay,
sleep.
thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah,
See you.
nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you all.
Yep, talk to you soon.
Okay.
Great.
Nice.
Right,
Yeah.
excellent. And we're gonna have to take care of that. I entertain a motion.
I will move to enter into executive session
Well, second,
for personnel.
personnel, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We will now go into executive session.